This evening, we dip the tip into Microsoft's sex box. We touch on trailers for games we want to get naked and show us those gameplay goods. Andrew is reminded that as the jungler, he must jungle, and a countdown before Star Wars premieres results in discussion of disappointments and some new hopes. We wonder how many cats away are you, what happens when you crypto can even, or the police ask too many questions.
Hi, I'm Andy, and I weigh at least 11 cats.
This is Nick. I can see the space between spaces.
This is Andrew, and I'm smurfing so hard these days.
This is Russ. Welcome to the Balcony Pine Podcast.
Ew. So we had the Game Awards, and with that came a few announcements. The one that I think is the most simultaneously exciting and unexciting is the new Xbox, the Series X.
Is it going to be the sex box or the Xbox X? That's my question.
The sex box. It's
the
definitely
sex
going to be the
box.
sex box.
Yeah.
It's kind of sexy.
Pulling a Tesla.
I like it. I like the look of it too, but I like PC gaming, so that's I'm into it. It looks like a PC.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's not that large as like it initially seemed.
Yeah.
I figured it was about like yay big.
Not even close.
Not
it's
even
like
really?
you stack two game cubes on top of each other.
Oh.
So we're talking like
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's like 6 by 6.
It's a PC you can't
by
open
like
up unless you void the
13
warranty.
or something.
Maybe we don't have those details yet. I mean, they may have modular upgrades. They plan on doing that with the Xbox One.
It just
and
gets
scrapped
taller.
It. Maybe
It just keeps growing. I appreciate the green light on it. Bring that back.
Yeah.
Old Xbox. Nice.
It definitely feels a little bit more old Xbox. Mm-hmm. Going back to the roots.
God, that thing was ugly.
Yeah, it was.
And it could have been even uglier. That's
Yeah.
like the
It looked like the
safe
90s.
design.
So what's
You're
inside
not
it?
wrong.
So as far as what's been announced, like no actual part numbers or anything like that have been
Okay.
listed. These are being kind of built specifically for the consoles. And we're probably going to be seeing the same processor in the PS5 and in the Xbox Series X.
Okay.
So it's going to be a difference of GPUs. But that's as far as the GPU goes. Looks like both of them are going to be based on the same Vega platform from AMD. It's AMD for both chipsets. So
Okay.
It's good for them.
yeah, dude, they're kind of killing it.
Is it the 7 nanometer stuff they're using?
It's going to be mixed, just like their current
Okay.
models are. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so a mix between 14 and 7 nanometer.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, dude. It's
I have a problem. Technical problem.
what's that?
My spring is out of its groove,
Your spring is out of its groove.
and I really want to put it back in the groove.
All right, go ahead and put it back in a groove.
We're going to mute Andrew for a second as he Wang jangles his...
Bam.
All right, we're
Wang
good.
jangled.
Crisis averted.
Save the day.
Wang has been jangled. Wang has been bangeranged.
I don't know. I think applied from the name, the series, it definitely seems like there's going to be a trend continuing with Microsoft making different versions of the machine.
Yeah.
It sounds like I was reading a little bit about how there's still a console in development that's like codenamed like Longhorn or something like that, and it's probably going to be like a cheaper version of the Series X, like a less powerful, cheaper version. Which, I mean, I guess it's fine. We're kind of accustomed to Xbox and Xbox S, the Xbox Elite, the Xbox One X. It's kind of
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how far back this goes, but I mean, at least back to the PS2 era, they used to do hardware updates, but they wouldn't really tell the consumers that the PlayStation was new until they had like the PlayStation Slim.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, with the first PlayStation, there was PlayStation, then there was PS1.
Mm-hmm.
The PS2, we had 3 different iterations of it. The PS3, there were 3. The original Xbox was just kind of its thing. But, I mean, even with the Xbox 360, we had the Elite, we had the normal, we had the arcade. And then, even outside of that, they changed a bunch of... Like, they changed the GPUs halfway through the life cycle of it.
Yeah, I
To
was
address
just
the
implying
Red Ring
that I
of
think
Death.
they would do hardware changes without necessarily changing the name. They had internal names, code names for like each generation within the generation.
What I don't understand is why they don't have add-on modular parts. Like,
Because then it'd be a computer.
it doesn't even
that's-
have to be. Like, they had expansion slots in the Sega Genesis. You could put the Sega CD and you could put the 32X.
The 32. You had to
Yeah.
have that
If
for
I
the
had to guess.
Death Star game.
Yeah.
It probably just isn't cost effective.
I guess so.
I mean,
They even
it
had
all
the
comes down to money.
For sure. Yeah.
Those were such like, I don't know, after the fact add-ons. Like
Some of them. I mean, you
Some of them-
had to have the expansion pack for the N64 to play like
Donkey Kong.
half of its library.
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
Fuck.
so it turns out the N64 expansion pack was probably the most bullshit of all of the like modular expansions. It did almost nothing. It actually just ran some code in the background that enabled the game to be played. So technically speaking, it did add an additional 4 megabytes of RAM, but all of the games that they could have played or that had to be played on that could have been played from the N64.
Huh.
Yeah.
That bears further reading, I believe. I'll have to do some of that.
Donkey Kong 64, the only reason that you actually needed the expansion pack for it was because it was coded in initially as needing the expansion pack. They were going to remove that caveat until they realized that their code wouldn't work anymore. Like they were just too far into the
Spaghetti
development
code,
cycle. Yeah. So too far into the dev cycle, and they're like, well, we kind of got to keep this. So they bundled it with DK64.
There's still no telling yet whether or not there'll be any sort of modular support for it.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm definitely like, part of me is I plan on getting the new Xbox because it's going to be me skipping the Xbox One X upgrade and just go to the newest model. But I would have probably liked some VR support just because I don't own a PSVR or a computer that can do VR. But I respect their decision to not do it because their point is very valid and that there isn't a lot of demand for VR. And it's still
There
in
will
its
be once it
infancy.
gets cheap, man.
Everyone knows that I think that VR will be huge, and that the leaps that they've made just in the last couple of years of doing it just gets everyone kind of hyped for a moment when it does reach maturity.
Right now, I think everything's in proof of concept.
I
as
think
far
so
as that
too.
goes.
Yeah. Like we moved out of the alpha stage. We're now
sure.
going into beta, you know.
Yeah.
We're like it's consumer testing now. It's
Yeah,
literally
exactly.
like
100%.
seeing how do we have to keep advancing the power, what changes need to be made. Mobility, of course, is they've made huge ones.
Yeah.
So remember when they showed I think it was for the Xbox One when they were showing the Kinect light bar
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
and like how it has the dots
Mm-hmm.
spread out across the room and stuff. But of course that did not pass the consumer test because nobody was really that interested in getting a Kinect.
It was just too early.
That was
There-
way early.
There were all
Yeah.
the spook stories about your Kinect spying on you and shit.
Well,
Yeah.
they
They've moved
made
past that.
they made a horror movie based on the not based on, but like featuring the Xbox One because of that.
Really?
Yeah, or the
it?
Kinect at least.
Huh.
It was Paranormal Activity 3, I think.
Oh,
had
okay.
Kinect out in the living room, and the only way that they found out that they were being like haunted by this demon was it kept like
the infrared was picking up the
Mhm.
dot matrix that it
Yeah.
projects
Huh.
to track movement.
it's kind of an interesting thing. I thought it was fun.
I think that might have been the first time I even knew it was doing that when it was on,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it's cool. There's been some really cool like 3D modeling applications and stuff like that people are using, like because you can connect it with a PC with like a little software trickery.
Have you guys seen, was it ZBrush? Is that what it's called? The art coming out of there? They have a 3D art game for the VR.
Oh,
where
it's
you
one that
Oh,
Peter
yes.
talked about.
paint
Yeah, yeah.
in 3D and
Like on a
some-
canvas and shit?
No,
No, it's
like you paint in 3D and you
In the
draw
air.
3D objects.
Fucking A.
It's intense.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. We'll watch them on the break. I'll
Yeah.
show you.
We should
It's like next
do some
next
stuff
generation
and
art.
Load that game up
you know.
someday.
Yeah.
Yes, we just need to invest in a lot of VR and probably a new house. You know, yeah.
One day
One day
with support from viewers like you.
That's right. No, I would love to have a VR rig set up, but that would mean like we'd have to remove everything here,
Yeah.
so we could do that.
You could
know.
just sleep on the couch and we'll put it in your room.
Boom. Nailed
No.
it. Oh, I thought you were going to snap an agreement for a second. I was so happy.
No,
I'd say put it in your closet because it's really big, but I'd end up Kool-Aid Manning through the neighbor's wall.
absolutely we would. Yeah,
Playing fucking Beat
not big
Saber.
enough. Yeah,
Worth it.
Oh my.
and I gamed out of a closet for too long. You know, it's it's not great.
You want to talk about any of the games that came out of the award show? Some
Oh,
trailers?
dude, that trailer with the chick who was chanting.
Hellblade
2, yeah.
Dude, that looked...
It's
It made me feel things.
that's the
Man.
one that I've seen that looks like a true step forward in graphical fidelity.
Well, legitimate. I watched on my phone because my phone's got so much anti-aliasing and whatnot.
Yeah.
It did not occur to me that her face was CG. Like
Yeah.
I
Right.
assumed it was an actor.
I'm sure they did mocap for that, so adding
yeah,
to the
have,
adding to the realism. But yeah, that looked
Well, and the tone it set
fantastic.
was just like, man, I'm kind of scared, and I really want to find out what the fuck's going on.
That was the coolest part about the trailer. That was definitely like a hype trailer. It got me hyped
man.
for it.
Yeah, they played it as an example of the Xbox Series X hardware and stuff. But I mean, we are all experienced gamers. We know that watching a pre-rendered CG video doesn't really show shit about a new console.
Nothing at all.
The game will not look exactly like that.
Yeah.
No.
It never does.
Although-
But if the cutscenes look like that in the game, and the game is close to that,
we are all suckers for some gorgeous cutscenes.
Shit,
Shout
yeah,
out
dude.
to Blizzard
yeah.
for doing it right.
Absolutely.
If you are interested in the music, the band's name is Heilung. I
Okay.
believe, Heilung. They have a really good hour-long live concert of them just going to Caveman Town on some fat ancient beats. And I've listened to it probably a dozen times now over the past year or two, and it's great.
I mean, I feel like I would listen to that if I'm attempting to summon something.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
Or you just want to trip without drugs. You
Yeah.
know, just lay it on bed and listen to it.
Yeah.
Primal stuff.
New World was pretty intriguing. It seemed like I'd like to learn more about New World. That's with the Centurions and
They show
the
this.
future conquistadors.
Yeah, this big.
Talked about it as like some sort of RPG.
That's kind of how I'd sum up all of the everything we saw from the Game Awards as far as launches. Is I'd just like to see more.
Show me.
Well,
the
it was a
game
lot of
itself.
teasers. Yeah.
Well, the New World one appealed to me specifically because the way, obviously cool CG, cool cinematic,
Yeah.
done deal. But then when they drew back and they were essentially going to do the title sequence, they did make it really feel like a particular type of game, which to me felt like you're probably an overpowered hero of some variety.
Yeah.
And you're going to go to this fucking Death Island to quest, And I'm like, yes. Having those weird light towers and stuff, it just felt like an RPG
Yeah.
quest world.
What bothers me is I love those cinematics, but I couldn't tell you what type of game that's going to be. That could be a first-person action game. It could be a fucking RTS.
Right.
I mean,
That's very
you
true.
have no way of knowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing I really liked about Left 4 Dead and Overwatch to a lesser extent is their Left 4 Dead especially, their cinematic trailers show you exactly what you can do in game. Everything that happens is something that happens in the actual gameplay. So, yeah, we'll see. That one looked neat.
Which Turtle Rock is coming out with another Left 4 Dead. So
Okay.
that I look forward to because as far as
Left 4 Dead's
multiplayer
great.
experiences, yeah, man, that shit is just super condensed amounts of fun.
Mm-hmm.
15-minute games and just so much fun.
I still have slight, almost PTSD over cinematic trailers only when it comes to, what was that Zombie Island game?
Zombie Island.
Oh,
Dead Island. The Dead Island?
It is Dead
Was
Island.
it Dead Island?
Yeah.
That amazing trailer with the kid.
Oh, the ones that
Yeah.
play backwards. Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember
And
that.
I was
that
like,
was-
this is going to be amazing. And
was
then the
incredible.
game came out. Oh, God.
And it was a standard,
It was like Sims, the freemium zombie version.
I don't think it was that bad. I mean, it was a
Oh, yeah.
action adventure
It
game
played
played
like a
on an
phone
island.
game. That's what I would align that to.
A phone game from 10 years from now, yeah, sure.
I'm not talking about graphics.
I'm not
just
talking about
actual
graphics either.
gameplay,
It was clunky as fuck.
it was bad.
It felt awkward playing that game.
Yeah.
I think it got a little bit better when the expansion came out, but even that felt
I got
weird.
like 3 hours into
Yeah.
it. That's just because I was so set on this. I was like, maybe if I just keep playing, it'll get
Yeah.
better.
I'm just amazed at the fact that we're still getting zombie games. That seems like
Yeah, I thought it was a fad.
yeah. But I guess
Zombies
not.
will always be around. Just comes back every once in a while.
Yeah.
Stronger force.
Because we're getting
Well,
there's a
always
Turtle Rock
people
game.
dying, so there's always zombies coming back.
Hey,
Infinite loop.
I feel like I just saw a trailer for a new zombie movie. I have no idea what it is.
you probably saw 2. 3 maybe.
It's very possible.
Zombieland 2 just came out not long ago.
That's right.
Which has anybody seen that?
Nope.
No.
Yeah, me either.
I really liked
one
the
was
first
enough.
one.
So did I. It just
The second one seemed try hard.
it did just from the trailer.
Try hard
See a
movie.
trailer for it.
Yeah.
Oh.
It seemed like they were just trying to capture the magic that the first one had and fell
Speaking of
flat.
try hard movies, Star Wars on Thursday.
Yeah,
Fucking A.
I may not be there.
Why?
I work
Don't do
Till
that.
when?
till 10.
Oh,
Yeah,
scrub.
I know.
Just
Could have got it off.
call
I
in
couldn't have
sick.
gotten it off.
It's like a half hour.
What are you rolling your eyes for?
You couldn't have asked like the 2 months in advance we do.
I did. You know how many people at the place that I work request that shit off? I'm going to be the only person there.
You have seniority, don't you, in that department?
Just lock up.
I'm not going to be like, nah, you can't go. You've already requested it, but you can't go.
I'm just saying you could have requested it first.
Sure. Yes. If I had walked into work the moment that we had reserved those tickets, sure.
Yeah.
But I waited till the next morning.
Yeah.
And
Honestly.
and I can't go.
I don't know. Whatever. I'm excited to see it.
I'm
I was
not
gonna-
surprised
I
Andy's
was
not
gonna
going.
trash
He's
on it,
already.
but I'm excited to see it.
Not a
I
theater
do
guy.
want to go see it in the
Right.
theater opening night. I mean, that's a Star Wars thing. But work.
out of everyone to not go.
Sure. Yeah. I'm probably the
yeah.
first to not. Yeah.
Hey, baby.
It's the 18th?
It's the 19th.
19th.
Yeah.
It's whatever Thursday is.
New World.
Well, hopes, expectations, dreams for it.
I'm trying to keep a clean slate. Hopefully they've learned from the second one and we can come out of this one with like a B+. That's what I'm expecting.
If it's not 50% space dogfighting and 50% lightsaber duels, I'm out.
Well, it's not going to be that.
We're getting into it. We're getting into it.
Star
Are we
Wars
getting
expectations.
into
so,
it?
what do you expect on a elementary grading score? I'm hoping and aiming for a B+.
If they give me a C, I'm content because it's a passing grade. I mean, if they can, in my C
Nah,
is
you could always try harder. They can do better
let's
than
get
a C.
Let's get some relativity. What F to the second one?
yeah.
Could I give it a G?
Give it like a D-. There was some things I liked about
That's still
the
a
second
fail.
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's still a
Right.
fail.
Yeah.
It
I-
could have been worse.
I'm trying to think about what I really enjoyed from the second one, and it's
Not
just
much.
all overshadowed.
The cinematography.
You know what I really liked in that one was when they had that shot of Luke. They had like the shot of his back, and then he turned around, and that was it. It was over after that. That was the only part that was good. Was when Luke might be cool.
What, when the movie ended, like towards the end when he
No, the first time Luke is on the scene. It's like Luke's there finally, and then he sucks after that.
So you mean like the opening of the movie?
Yeah,
And
the
then
very
just
first
downhill.
second of the movie. Second number 2 and everything else sucks.
I knew you were being like fucking an
Facetious.
ass.
Yeah.
In some manner. I was just trying to figure out where are we starting? Oh, the very beginning of the movie.
I don't think it was that bad, but it was. I hated it as a movie. As a Star Wars property, I hated it more.
There was
I
lots
love
of
the
Star
porgs.
Wars in it, but
Yeah, sure.
There
at
wasn't.
its worst, at its like fucking holiday special worst.
Yeah.
yeah, I would
Yes.
give it like a D-. There's too many pretty and awesome cinematography shots. in
Sure.
that for me to complete.
Whatever. That's
so-
a dime a dozen now. Everybody's got a cool camera.
Force Awakens. That's a C. They passed. That was
the new one.
the first one.
I'd have rated
of
that
the new
higher.
ones.
Yeah, that was just solid C because it was a very safe copy of A New Hope.
That's all it was.
They
And
did
they
it.
did it. They
Yeah.
showed this is Star Wars. This feels like Star Wars because we've remade Star Wars for you. And we're like, okay, let's now go do something new that we've cleansed our palate from the distaste of the prequels. And then they fucking let fucking Rian Johnson, fucking some guy, make the second one. And it was, man, he subverted my expectations.
Yeah, just a little bit. I would give Force Awakens like a solid B.
Yeah, I think it's in B range. I liked it a lot.
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah. It was exactly what
Are
I
you
wanted.
just not bothered by how bad the plot was?
I don't think it was that bad.
They
I don't
literally
think so
just
Hold on.
almost everything is ripped off from A New Hope.
That's fine.
You don't
Yeah,
get
which I
Oh no, wait. I'm sorry. Are we talking about the?
Fuck no,
Which movie are we
episode
talking
8
about
I
now?
hated more
Force
than
Awakens?
anybody else.
Yeah, Force Awakens.
Okay, I thought we were talking about.
I
episode
was the
8.
only
No,
one that
it's
walked
seven.
out of the
Okay,
theater
we're
and
talking
said
about
that was a
7.
hot pile of garbage. Everybody else
Okay.
was trying to give it a chance.
7. Yeah.
Yeah, seven I enjoyed a lot.
That's
8
bullshit,
was
by the
garbage.
way. I did not give that movie a chance because as soon as they broke the light speed, I was just checking
out?
out of that.
I remember walking out
We
and
were
I was
talking
like,
and people were trying to play devil's advocate. But
yeah, and I walked out and I was like, that was a hot pile of fucking garbage. I hated every second of that movie.
Yep.
And I felt like everybody was like, what are you talking about? This was a perfectly fine, serviceable Star Wars movie. One of the, lesser, but...
Help this old man catch up. Breaking light speed. You're talking about the communication stuff?
No, they should turn around and launched her ship through hyperspace.
The suicide ship.
That's the 8th movie.
Yes.
Yes.
I thought we were talking
We're
about now the
jumping.
7th.
We're
Oh,
jumping.
You guys,
Yeah, we're
keep
jumping
up,
around,
Nick.
yeah.
Keep up, Nick.
Yeah.
Everybody's here but you.
No, 8 was trash.
Yeah.
It was a D minus.
I fucking hated that movie.
That's a failure on so many levels.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. To me, the difference between F and D minus are comparable. You're either going to be
Yeah.
passing to like certain tiers of quality, or you're just a failure of a movie. So
I just wanted to give a nod to how many good. The cinematography in that movie was still excellent.
Yeah.
And you can't downplay that because it not only looked gorgeous, but there was some really good scenes blocked in that. But yeah, most everything else. I think what hurts me the most is contrived plot's one thing, but just the breaking of Star Wars canon.
Yeah.
Right? When that ship went into hyperdrive and hit that big Star Destroyer, it was just fucking beautiful. And I was like, holy crap.
Yeah, it
and
was
then
gorgeous.
the consequences of that hit me like a truck.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you can't, it's just offensive.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, even if you're not a huge Star Wars fan, to take any show and be like, here are the rules of the show. Everyone loves it. You're watching it for years, and this new guy's going to come in and just shit on it, right? You can't turn something like a hyperdrive into a weapon because that just nullifies the need for any space combat ever at all at any time.
Yeah.
You know, they could just be sending rocks of the hyperdrive at them. You have no need for spaceships, right?
I mean, I remember discussing this either on the last podcast or within the last couple of nights, but
it's been talked about at length.
Mm-hmm.
well, just like specifically what really bothered me is like there was just no movement of this story that's been building forever. And I think a lot of it is because Star Wars is competing in an environment with superhero movies. So like the Jedis don't feel like Jedi, they feel like superheroes.
Yeah.
So I will say this. I don't know what Abrams would have done with 2 had he been allowed to continue directing it. And if you had to continue the one example we have of a Star Wars movie, which was him remaking
It would have been good, I think.
It might have just been fucking Empire.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
No. You only get the one pass on A New Hope just for that palate cleanse before you go in and you start doing new stuff with Star Wars. You don't get to just remake the original trilogy with new characters. That's fucking bullshit. And everything was kind of lined up for him to do exactly that.
Fair enough. And I think the answer to that question will be answered after Thursday, once we see what this movie is like.
Maybe, but I mean, he also might have realized the backlash
because
that Rian Johnson got.
Sure, but what I gathered out of episode 7 was it was you used the term earlier, like a proof of concept thing. Like, we can do Star Wars under the Disney umbrella. We can make it look good. We can make it feel like it did.
Yes.
And to that degree, they did a wonderful job.
Yes.
Had he been able to continue that, I think then you have a little more leeway to move away from that strict plot following.
So you got to look at the plot lines that J.J. Abrams developed in the first movie that would have been continued in the second one. And then having watched the second one, you can see where Rian Johnson stepped in to try to shake that up a little bit. Almost like his intention was to not remake Empire, but the things that he changed to not be Empire ended up being really bad. And then you combine that with just the shit they're rehashing from Empire. And I can give like perfect examples of that. You have a fucking new Force user seeking out training from an ancient master on a desolate location, right? Yoda Luke. You have her confrontation with the dark side in some sort of secret nexus of power, which she has. And you go on his attempt to go back and rescue their friends and failing. Like, it's literally...
I think what's being glossed over is, like, none of Star Wars is about its originality. Like, at its core, it is a space opera, which is a tale as old as time, right?
Yeah. It's a hero's
and
journey.
it's dressed up in really creative garb, but at the end of the day, it is a basic story.
It's a full story arc spread out over 3 movies. You can make another hero's arc movie and not have it. They're literally doing the same exact things. If I had a hero's journey where, like, so the hero fails, right? That doesn't mean that, like, every time he got to the top of the castle, he fucking fell off. Sometimes he didn't find the castle. Sometimes the castle was destroyed when he got there. Like, you can change that shit up so that a film's not going to just be the rehashing of the plot. Now, if you want to try to digress the Star Wars story down into its, like, bare components, and you do that with every story, then every story is going to look similar because they are trying to follow that hero's arc.
Yeah.
This one is like almost they have a fight in the Emperor's throne room while the fleet's outside. They're watching the window and like, we knew that they were stealth the whole time. Oh, I'm afraid the Death Star is quite operational. Like, come on.
The more I think about it, the more I think that one of the big problems with Star Wars is the fact that over the course of these 9 episodes of Star Wars, it doesn't feel like one complete story, right? It feels like all these disjointed stories, unfortunately, like 3 disjointed stories, unfortunately. And
I would disagree. I disagree with that.
Really?
I think if you follow the prequel storyline, it leads really well into the original trilogy. It's giving you a lot of backstory about how the events came to unfold in the original.
Pragmatically, yeah, in universe, but as a movie, the original 3 movies do not feel like the prequel movies. They feel like they
feel like another thing.
Show.
Yeah, in tone they're different.
But the plots still mesh.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but we're not talking about the in-universe plot.
Yeah, I'm not talking
them
about
as
like consistency
movies.
of events. I'm talking about how they move and how that feels and what you're focusing on.
How they're shot
through that entire saga.
I agree.
It didn't quite feel like the old Star Wars.
Yeah.
One thing to consider that we don't know is how much control Abrams actually had over everything in Episode 7. Disney has just acquired Star Wars. They have paid a shit ton of money for it. And I would be willing to bet money they didn't say, okay, you got free reign, make whatever you want. Right? They probably had quite a bit of input as to how the movie was going to pan out. And it's just a guess, but I'm sure that they probably said, when in doubt, play it safe.
I can tell you right now. So the first one was almost a movie made by committee. There's multiple people working on writing and directing that movie together. It's literally ran by committee. Going to the second one, they didn't do that. They gave Rian Johnson the writer-director role. So that means he gets to write and direct the movie. So you're always going to have Disney input. But it's substantially less when you're not doing it by committee. But that first one gets a pass. Like I said, they did what they needed to do. They made it feel like Star Wars. Sure, they rehashed a New Hope's plot. I can forgive them for that. But it's just like, I was holding in my hope. Like this is my hopes for the 3rd movie. So I was thinking like, okay, well, J.J. Abrams started this. Maybe he had a lot of ideas and he can somehow salvage the 3rd. What concerns me is that if I look at the first and how it was leading into the second, it really just felt like he was going to make Empire with new characters.
Could have, but we won't know. And I don't think there's any way. I don't think there's enough evidence to assume as much. You know,
I think there's a lot of evidence for J.J. Abrams being a good filmmaker.
Yeah, he made the Cloverfield movies. I mean, the first Cloverfield was one thing for sure, but 10 Cloverfield Lane, in the same universe, was a completely different movie from the original
He didn't do Cloverfield Lane?
It's right here. Well, unless Google's wrong, I could be. But
Sure,
J.J. Abrams produced.
Yeah, I think it might have been produced.
Oh, okay.
Non-entities in the
creation.
creation.
Because I'm pretty sure that was directed by Dan Trachtenberg.
Okay.
I only know that because that guy's fucking awesome.
What else has he done?
The Totally Rad Show. Yeah, he was one of the presenters on the Totally Rad Show.
Right
yeah, that guy's excellent. Yeah, he was supposed to make the Portal movie, and then the funding fell through for that. So it was cool to see him make like a real film.
We will definitely find out to see if there is anything to be salvaged from this trilogy going into this last one. At the very least, we have the hope that we have now ended the full arc of the Skywalker saga, theoretically. Yeah. Because that was supposed to be their intention, is to wrap this up and let's go explore. And I think Mandalorian's a great example of them starting to explore the Star Wars universe in more fun and interesting ways. This last
we've been
episode
asking that for decades.
It's
You got this whole universe to explore.
It doesn't all have to revolve around one goddamn family, you know?
Dynasty.
It's fine for a
The
trilogy,
movies.
but yeah, to have it be the focus of three now full trilogies is kind of ridiculous.
I don't know where Disney's going to go with Star Wars. They've sunk so much money into it. You think they're going to start
They're
a
gonna sell them
new
toys.
thing?
B.
I don't know.
What do you mean by that?
Like a new movie series?
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, yeah,
They'll
it's a
start
cash cow.
They'll do another trilogy.
They're gonna
Start a
do
new arc.
episodic movies of
And
different
it's just not going to
characters.
be tied
and-
into the
Well, maybe.
Skywalker saga. I mean,
I guess
that's
we
the
don't
whole
really
idea.
know what's going to happen after this is over.
It's gonna, yeah, because it's kind of like
There's definitely
where-
room to overpay those actors for cameos
Yeah.
to make it seem like it's part of that world.
Where are we
the
going
way-
to draw the line of what is the Skywalker storyline? Because if you just jump, if you end the Skywalker stuff and you jump a few years ahead, and you're still dealing with like Republic Empire stuff, I mean, that's just going to be, that is the overarching fight in that galaxy.
Yeah,
Really,
you
is
would
for
have to pass
control.
some time.
Well, they already are apparently for this next one. I keep hearing.
Manatee's talking about Mandalorian, which we did just watch.
Yes, we are caught
And-
up.
I am the
Oh.
dissenting voice of the Mandalorian.
Really?
I dislike it. Entirely.
I'm halfway in, halfway out.
Entirely?
Yeah, I'm over the show. I
Oh
mean, I'll
my
keep
God.
watching it, but I don't think it's a good show.
This is why I don't like your opinions on a guy who falls asleep in good movies.
I almost fell asleep during that episode.
Now, I've got a weird posit for you here.
Okay.
If you were tasked with making a Western in Star Wars, what would you do differently? Because this is a Western.
in Star Wars.
It can be easily classified as like a spaghetti Western, but this show is like A to Z being written and shown as a. I mean, all the tropes are there, and
I guess that's the problem. Is I would. The tropes are too heavy-handed. Like put some more subtlety into the show.
that's the thing with Westerns is like once you decide to make a Western, you have to hit those marks. I don't know why
You
that
don't
happens.
unless you don't when it's a Western set in space. I mean, it's in Western in pacing and theme alone. You can change pretty much everything else.
A lot of the dialogue just feels really forced in there for no reason.
I agree with the dialogue.
the dialogue has
writing is
really
not
been
very
that
good.
great. I
I
wouldn't
don't
call
have
it
complaints
bad.
about it, yeah.
I don't think it's that bad, but some of it definitely falls flat. Like I think just as far as casting goes, they could have done a better job, write them a little bit better.
Some really good, I think.
I think
I
the cast
agree.
are
I think
fine.
but it's weird. There's a few that I'm like, the woman that he was like weirdly falling in love with in fourth
Village?
episode.
I just really wish that we can just ignore that episode.
Sure, but as an example, I think that she was poorly cast because she seemed like a kind of shit actor, and I think her lines were bad. I mean,
It's really hard to portray your love to a robot man.
yes,
I mean,
it
I don't
is.
see how she could have done it any differently. They gave her so little lines to talk that like
and motivation and rationale for
Yeah.
why she's falling in love
hot
with this
robot
guy.
man.
At the end of the day, it was bad, and
Maybe
I-
she's just really
I
into
agree.
herself, and so she just kept seeing her reflection on the shiny dome. She's like, I fucking love you.
like I don't fully blame the actress, right? But a good actor can deliver bad lines well.
On the
you know.
whole, I really like the new episode.
Yeah, I think the last
I did
episode
too.
was good. I like this episode; it's better.
This has been the best one in my opinion. that they've done.
I could maybe agree with you there.
I think
but-
it's because it's gotten the closest to what I wanted out of Mandalorian,
okay.
which is space heists, and I got space western, and they kind of managed to mix those two together. And
I think it helps a lot that after we saw episode 4 into episode 5, to change gears and realize, okay, Nick and I were talking about it. We
Yeah.
talked about it last week. We're not going to get just constant feeding of main plot. We're gonna go do random missions with the Mandalorian. So it's
Sure.
randos with the Mando. And since I changed my thought process, I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm on board for this. I don't give a shit. You're showing me more well done aspects of the Star Wars universe. This one with the multiple races in there. Throwing Bill Burr in the mix.
yeah,
And then me
It's
not
clever.
not thinking like, well, this doesn't feel right. I'm like, wow, okay, this is
Bill Burr-
Bill Burr nails this.
Bill Burr has arguably been like the best actor on the show so far.
he's just kind of playing himself.
He delivered every line well. I
Best
think he did a
actor.
really good job.
He just played himself.
There's
That's
there's
fine.
some
If he's playing a
excellent-
character actor,
yeah.
he did a really fucking good job of it.
It was good.
I like the Robot Zero.
Yeah, I did too.
That was
well-
Iowade, right?
Yeah, Richard
Yeah.
Iowade.
Yeah, from IT Crowd.
Mose. Moss.
Moss, yeah.
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 But no.
I don't know. I'm on board. I'm fucking loving it. But I'm a Star Wars fanboy, and
After this
it's just
last
not my
episode,
speed.
I'm coming back around a little bit. Because, man, it was really starting to wane for me.
Well, we've got
fingers crossed that this next movie is somehow redeeming.
Yeah.
This is
Like I said,
episode
if
6.
it's not X-wings versus lightsabers,
You just
it
want a
doesn't
lightsaber
pass.
fight in space.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it doesn't look like
Just
a
have
bunch
two
of action
Death
figures
Stars
fighting,
just waving around in space at each other.
We can definitely transition from this Star Wars talk into the new Ghostbusters trailer.
That looked
seems
cool.
appropriate.
it did look cool. At first I was
going
like,
to have to
I don't know how I feel about not having. What's up?
Bladder.
Oh, gotcha. At first I was like, I don't know how I feel about not having any of the original cast, which maybe they'll show up.
I'm fairly certain they signed at least 3 of them.
I think so too. But we haven't seen it yet, which I'm okay
everything
with.
that I've heard is that both like Dan Aykroyd,
They all want to make it again.
they're all
Yeah.
part of the process, is from what I remember reading.
I heard that too from another podcast, but not seeing them in the trailer. There's no confirmation yet. You know what I mean?
That's good. Don't
That's
show
part
them
of the
trailer.
marketing, man.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
Which is if it was good marketing, they would have showed the 3 that are left, right?
Or
I
you
don't-
keep it under wraps until the last minute and get everybody hyped and buzzing
Maybe.
about it.
I would say
first.
bad media companies think that it would have been good
To show it all.
The smart ones knew better.
Hey, play your cards close to your vest, man.
Maybe.
Stop making trailers that expose the plot.
Yes.
I think we think a lot more about this than normal people would. I think the majority of the moviegoers are going to say,
But-
"Holy shit, it's a
But
Ghostbusters!"
here's the thing, Andy. We don't think about it more than like the people in those rooms making these decisions are thinking about it because they're having these
that's
very
true.
conversations.
That's
their job.
Guaranteed.
I-
It's not the people.
I don't
making these
disagree.
decisions.
I'm just saying, like from my point of view,
sure.
this kind of trailer appeals to me, right?
Yeah.
I do want them, like everything you said, I agree with. I feel like my dad would be like, it's fucking kids playing Ghostbusters. Who gives a shit? Whereas like he sees Venkman and he's like, mind blown. I'm gonna go see this. Let's get our tickets now. You know.
You know what sells that trailer?
The name on the suit.
Paul Rudd.
Oh, and Paul Rudd. Yep, for sure.
I love Paul Rudd.
Everyone loves Paul
Yeah.
Rudd. You can't not love Paul Rudd. If you don't love Paul Rudd, fuck you.
Yeah, you're not human. On that note, are we ready for break?
Real quick though,
Yeah.
before we go on break, I want to touch on the fact that on this trailer subject, because we watched Bloodshot, the Vin Diesel superhero-esque movie. It's not really superhero.
Yeah, that looked
super
interesting.
soldier.
Triple X2.
Yeah. So
At least
already-
the first half of the trailer.
they already made a Triple X2. I'm pretty sure they made 3 of
Yeah,
those.
they sort of changed my perception of the movie itself halfway through the
like,
trailer. They did a really good job with
In
that.
the middle of the trailer, I'm like, oh, okay.
See, and that's to me, it's like initially I had a reaction of like, why did you just show me that
Yeah.
that plot development in this trailer? But I realized if they hadn't shown me that plot development, I would have probably written that off as
100%.
a fucking generic
action movie.
with Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
But like the fact that they're exposing this plot point, I'm like, okay, that's an interesting take on things. That could
yeah.
be entertaining. And that one's like that's a necessary reveal for me
Yes.
just to not be like,
Me too. A third of the way through that, I was like, why are we even watching this? Halfway through it, I was like, oh,
interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what other
Yeah.
movie did
Little
that to me?
twist.
And it wasn't even the spoiler, but The Kingsman, right?
Yeah.
I remember I sat down to watch
Oh,
that
the
movie.
first trailer
Yeah.
does
and
not let
and
you
that,
know
that first like 3 minutes, I'm like, this movie's gonna be fucking garbage. And then 3 minutes and 30 seconds or so, I'm just like, this movie's gonna be fucking awesome.
Yeah.
like the
It
very
was a
first one.
great
or-
Yeah, the very
too.
first
Yeah.
one. I didn't see the second one yet.
Second one wasn't bad.
I feel like the first one they didn't really let go how over the top they were going to get
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Dude.
in the trailer. But
Right, yeah. I remember I didn't see much in the trailer. And then that first 3 minutes, it is just like completely cliche and over the top, but then it's done so well the
Yeah.
whole time.
I mean, the movie's ridiculous.
It's awesome.
Like it is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I mean, they literally are just popping people's heads at the end of the first
Yeah.
Kingsman. I mean,
They do it on purpose. The second one, especially, you can tell was like a love letter to that super pulp British spy action
Sure.
stuff because they almost go like onomatopoeia style Batman wham pow zap.
Gotcha.
With the level of cinematography, you're like, this is clearly over the top, but it's done with care. You can tell they put a lot of work into it.
It's all about gadgets, man.
Yeah,
It is all about
Yeah.
gadgets.
So, talking about games that don't have a way for me to like not playing Star Wars RPG because they don't have magical loot right? I was talking about that. That's kind of what I feel like with gadgets. It's like, yeah, man.
It just
Give me my magic
depends
items.
on what you really want out of the loot. There's loot in the Star Wars stuff that you certainly would consider an upgrade from what you have.
No,
that
that's-
can do some unique stuff.
The more we were talking about, I definitely was a little more.
I do
on
love
board
Baby
of,
Yoda for what it's
just
worth.
using tech as a
Seeing this in the
replacement for
chat.
magic, if we can play around with
Now
that.
the thing is when you do play Star Wars, you are like kind of diegetically limited as to how magical that stuff can get.
Sure.
You have lightsabers and thermal detonators and droids and AI, but you're not going to find Samoflange that allows you to teleport, because that's not a thing in Star Wars. Right. So if you were playing generic sci-fi, then yeah, you could just replace magic with sci-fi nonsense. But Star Wars does kind of limit you a little bit if you want to keep like to Star Wars.
Yeah. But I mean, you can get cool gear and gadgets.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be neat. But so yeah, we can. It's break 2.
It is break time. I guess we will be right back.
Break me off a piece of that cat crack.
Okay.
Forgot about that.
Hey everyone, I just wanted to take a second to welcome any newcomers to the Balcony Time podcast and thank those of you that have already been listening to us for a while. I also wanted to take a moment of your time to remind you that we stream the podcast live every Sunday night around 8 Pacific on twitch.tv/videogametango. You can also find the video on demand there or the Balcony Time podcast YouTube channel. You can also, of course, always find the audio-only version anywhere you listen to podcasts. Again, thank all of you new and longtime listeners for the support, feedback, and all the fun we've had. Now let's get back to the Balcony Time podcast.
So we had the news, which I'm finding out is not as current as I originally thought, about the cryptocurrency owner of $145 million worth of the cryptocurrency dying. And it is sparking an interesting debate about what happens when a large sum of cryptocurrency suddenly becomes available or unowned, supposedly. Yeah. So my concern, of course, like any sort of stock market stuff that works on scarcity as value, is that if you just dump it back into the market, everyone's devalued. If you just get rid of it, then you're increasing the value of everything else that everyone has arbitrarily.
As a group of people who don't know enough about cryptocurrency, I don't really know how I would go about solving it. What I know about cryptocurrency and the blockchain is that every transaction is essentially public knowledge. And that's how they keep cryptocurrency secure. The blockchain is this record of the transactions that is continuously growing as every transaction's made. And it's just like a history of all the currency in this particular cryptocurrency you're talking about. So if someone mined or bought a bunch of cryptocurrency, we'll call them meta coins in this one, right? And he's got a bunch of them, and then he doesn't use them for a while. Like you said, that's affected the price of the currency because he's bought it or mined it or whatever. So what are the options? You dump it back in, which I don't even know if it's possible.
Yeah, I'm
you
pretty
remove
sure.
it.
Their problem was that they couldn't get access to it because it was obviously secure. But if you then had access to his keys to where you could then manipulate his cryptocurrency, then yeah, you could theoretically...
Maybe they could just lock it. They could say, let's not assume this gets dumped back in. Let's not assume it's removed so we don't change the current value of the coin, but let's just freeze it. Like if a certain number of years have passed and there's been no activity on this account, then it just gets
deleted
and retired.
But see, that's I feel like it's almost the equivalent of deletion, and simply because cryptocurrency becomes more difficult to mine as time goes on.
Yeah.
And so if you lock that chunk of Bitcoin in there, the difficulty of mining crypto coins is still going to be really high. So you still have the demand or the value of all existing coin that's still in the market goes up because they will never have access to this easier to get 145 million, and all current crypto mining is done at a much slower rate than the other stuff was accumulated.
Well, what's the difference between this guy buying a bunch of this stuff, not using it for 5 years, and then spending a bunch of it? right?
Spending if it's an exchange.
Yeah.
There's
It's
you're
still in the
exchanging
market. It still
something for
exists.
something else. It has a value, a monetary value.
Okay. So then, I mean, what options are you left with?
I mean, I don't know. Well, in this case, I'm pretty sure the entire fucking version of Bitcoin collapsed because as soon as they found out that this guy was dead and they couldn't get access to it, all the people that currently had it started dumping their coin as fast as they could.
Yeah.
In which case, some of the banks that were handling transactions declared bankruptcy and started freezing everything. So
I guess is when
you run on the bank.
if your cryptocurrency is that young and new and small, there's nothing you can do about that then. Because like you said, it's going to inflate or deflate the economy of that coin so much that it sucks.
Theoretically, if everyone knew that once that so somebody dies, their 145 million is up for grabs, a new system takes place of managing that money to where it slowly trickles it back into the economy. That way, your drop in value of your coin is reduced. So you don't get a sudden plummet of your value, but you know that there's some easier to get coin that's being dropped back in the market. So you see a temporary dip before, ideally, your coin continues to climb.
Yeah.
That would work, I think, for smaller amounts. It would just depend on the rate at which you trickle it back.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
You would need hard numbers to know how much that would affect things.
Yeah.
I don't even think numbers would be enough because at the end of the day, it's just like our monetary system where it works essentially on faith. We have faith that this money's worth something.
Yeah.
Crypto coins are the same exact way. You have to be very transparent about what you're going to be doing with that money with a steady plan of trickling it back in so people don't panic and make a run on the crypto bank.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that is literally the same premise of what caused run on the banks during like Great Depression eras that
Everybody wanted it at the same time. There was a lack of faith, and everybody tried to withdraw their cash at the same time.
And they wouldn't
There
let
wasn't
'em.
enough.
Yeah.
yeah, so it's like
Especially
everyone,
if that first day, I remember reading stories, they went to pull out their money and they're like, we're not going to do that. And then all hell broke loose.
which is probably I don't want to get into history of stuff because I know how ignorant I am of a lot of American history, but
Black something?
well, I was thinking like, was this post or pre gold standard? And it seems like it would have had to
this is
been
1920.
This would be during the gold standard.
1928 when the Great Depression started,
okay.
somewhere in there.
Like-
And the gold standard lasted until the
Like the
30s?
No, it was later than that. I actually
Yeah.
just got into a conversation with my neighbor about this
Okay.
within the last couple of weeks, and the gold standard lasted, I want to say, up until like the 60s or 70s. Like
Oh, really?
the idea that we were on the gold
Yeah.
standard. I don't know if it was in fact.
I'm sure the Depression was in the mid 20s, somewhere around there, maybe late 20s.
U.S. followed Britain in stopping the gold standard in 1933, but didn't
okay.
abandon all of the remnants of the system until 1971.
Okay,
okay.
so we're both kind of right. Yeah.
That's when it was completely replaced by fiat money.
Yeah, because we replaced it fully with fiat money when we did the gold trade, right? Like you literally it was the law for a while that you had to hand over your gold to the U.S. government.
Interesting. Haven't heard about that.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, well, that was a thing. I don't know when, but there was a period of like 2 years where you had to either declare or turn over your gold to the U.S. government.
Well, I mean, the gold standard was that you had to have gold to back up all your
Yeah.
financial gains.
Right.
I don't know about this gold situation you're talking about.
Yeah, that was the thing. Yeah, you had to turn over your gold to the U.S. government. It was at the same time Fort Knox was being built, which I don't know when that was either. The only thing I'm fuzzy about is the dates.
Hold on. I think I'm hitting on what you're talking about.
Okay.
So 1933, Roosevelt passed Executive Order 6102, forbidding the hoarding of gold coin, gold bullion, and gold certificates within the United States. So it was limiting
Limiting
gold
how much.
ownership in
Yeah.
the U.S., which was actually repealed by Ford
with Order 66.
Yes.
Yep, that's the one.
No, not till 1974.
Really, that long? I don't remember it being that long, but yeah. So there was a gold. What is that? How did that not inflate the price of gold in the private sector?
Well,
I don't know if it would have
I don't
deflated
know.
because you weren't allowed to hold on to so much of it in the
That's-
private sector.
yeah, I guess that's
so
true.
it would, if anything, devalue it in the private
Yeah.
sector. It's all smoke and mirrors. What the fuck do we even...
It really is.
Unless
Yeah.
you're providing a good or a service in exchange for a good or a service, it's all fucking made up.
Yep.
So we all agree to believe in this illusion.
Whose
That's
cash
true.
is in it anyway?
Well, I mean, why?
It's money or guns, right? It's money or guns.
Why was gold valued so highly in the first place, anyway?
because
it's rare.
shiny.
Yeah, it's shiny, right?
It's rare. It's hard to get to.
Yeah.
Sure.
You literally pick something that is hard to obtain
Yeah.
and say, like, okay, this is worth X amount of goods and services because of how hard I had
Yeah.
to fucking work to get
Purely
it.
on its rarity, which at the time of discovery is going to be unknown, really.
I think I'm going to pull some numbers out of my ass here, but the total amount of gold we've mined is something like a block that would fit in a football stadium, I think like 10 or 20 feet high, like over all of human history. Like the gold, it's extremely abundant in Earth, but
Yeah.
just like we don't have the technology to like dig way
Right.
down, right? So yeah, we really haven't mined that much.
So what we need is just the technology to dig way down, and let's get rich.
Yeah.
Really, what you just need to do is find the material that is going to drive the next tech boom and hope that it's scarce and you have a lot of it.
Void
Yeah.
crabs.
Void crabs.
That's the one. We've only
Water.
found enough to fill one person.
They're extremely hard to mine.
How I mine for void crabs.
You have to get them from the source, and nobody wants to do that.
No. I've seen the void. Avoid it.
Avoid the void.
Avoid the void.
Was that Pizza Hut? Avoid the noid?
Avoid the noid, yeah. Or, yeah.
Avoid the Noid?
You don't remember Avoid the Noid campaign
No.
for Pizza Hut? The weird orange dude with the
Claymation
fucking-
looking superhero
They
thing.
made a video game out of it. Of course, they also
Yeah.
made one about the
Remember that.
sprite spot, so
Yeah,
that's not
they
really
did.
saying much.
Yeah.
This is like just prior to, I think, when what's the reading shit? Book It really took off. That was like their next big campaign. Void the Noid. Google knows what's up.
Dude, did you guys
The Noid.
ever
I
see
don't remember
Pepsi
that.
Man? Best video game advertising crossover of all time.
Pepsi Man.
Yeah.
Was it like
I
Duffman?
feel like I've seen it, and I'm
Kind
forgetting
of.
what it is.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess. Maybe. I don't know.
So not counting like underground reserves that we're like currently able to mine but not mining, the block of gold is something like a cube 65 feet on a side. Much smaller
Interesting.
than what I said.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like a big ass building. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of gold, but
Speaking of weird games, I remember being about 14 and reading what looked like some schmucky RPG standard fantasy nonsense from Blockbuster. I had read the back. It's like, okay, this is fine. I get in it. I get like an hour in, and it's like a Skittles game.
Oh God.
Like I found this power crystal. I was like, that looks like a fucking Skittle. And it's like, it's the green Skittle. You need to get the other colors. I was just so pissed.
Yeah,
I see if
dude.
I can find what game that was.
that's awful.
Because they duped you.
Yeah. Okay.
With
So,
this-
so there was no Skittles like on the cover or anything?
No, there was
Wow.
no signs unless I'm misremembering. And I mean, I wasn't like 8. I was a teenager.
It's like playing a game and not realizing it's a demo until it stops you from playing.
Oh.
Yeah.
You
Free
son
game.
of a-
Cool.
Cereal box CD-ROMs.
Yep.
I miss getting demo discs from monthly magazines, man.
Yes.
That was the best.
Yeah.
So good. I
Yeah.
played so much Tony Hawk.
So look at this.
Why,
It's
why
called-
do you miss that?
Wait, what are we talking
Because it's nice to be able to get a hold of a game like that. and
Yeah.
Have that demo experience.
You have thousands of or hundreds of demos that you can play at any point on
There-
our console and
Sure.
Yeah, no, I guess it is just.
There are
something
just a
for
lot
fun
of
right now.
games that don't get demos anymore, so it's I don't know. It was satisfying to get like there's eight game demos on this disc.
I also remember that when I had a subscription to PC Gamer,
Yeah.
like when I was a teenager. So it was cool getting a disc inside the CD.
Dude, Nick, you know what I found?
Yeah, I don't doubt that, but I mean, we live in a different age now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's- There's something we said about how
Listen.
much we played fucking Fusion Frenzy on the Xbox.
Fuck
if
yeah,
we
dude!
ever
Right,
owned
just for
that
shitty
game.
demo on Halo.
Yeah.
Yeah. God, that was good.
What did you find?
I found I found the God Games collection.
Oh, really?
Online?
Like the softcore porn
Yeah,
videos and
dude.
whatnot?
Absolutely, that was the best.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That'd be a trip to go back through.
Absolutely.
What are you guys talking about?
So I don't remember which one of us got. I think both of us got it.
You.
It was definitely.
but-
I don't know either.
I remember seeing this disc out
like the brown
often.
CD.
Yeah, like brownish gold, like mustard colored CD. It was the one and only demo disc that they ever published, and they
It's
were
like
like
a new company.
a new company that partnered with like PC Gamer or something.
Yeah.
And it was basically just a bunch of softcore porn. It was like
Fuck yeah.
mostly
Also
women in
with game
bikinis
demos.
rubbing themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, but most of the game demos like we couldn't launch.
Yeah. it
For
didn't
some
look
reason.
very
Yeah,
well.
most of them didn't work. Maybe a faulty disc or whatever. But
Yeah.
I found that across a couple discs. Really trying here. But the whole thing was narrated by some dude that didn't seem to give a shit about anything that was going on, and it was just even though that young of age, I realized how funny it was.
Mm-hmm.
It was amazing. I'll have to find that again. We'll
It'd been
we'll
like
look at that.
12 or so. But look at this. Let's see. I'll go back here. So it's called Darkened Sky, and it says on the box, Tomb Raider style adventure with magic, right?
Okay.
And you look at the game, and it's just kind of the standard RPG, right? But yeah,
Sure.
you get like an
Some
hour into
light
it, and
magic
it,
action.
yeah, and it turns out, what does it say here? Title character is a young woman named Sky, lives in a fantasy realm searching for mother. She doesn't use firearms, but can perform magic using Skittles, as well as her staff as a melee weapon. Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was the softcore porn game.
No, this is that damn
Skittles
Skittles game. Yeah, 2002.
What qualifies? I think softcore porn is just no penetration, right?
I think it's
I think it's just no penetration.
I think
yeah,
that's the only caveat.
It was just I remember titties. I don't remember there being like
Yeah.
full nudity in this.
There wasn't
maybe
any full
maybe no
nudity.
spread, but you can
Yeah.
definitely go full nude for softcore.
Yeah, this wasn't nude, but so it was basically most of it was swimsuit models, but there was a lot of like touching, rubbing,
Yeah.
that kind of thing going on. Yeah,
Through
swimsuits.
cups.
yeah.
Come on, Wikipedia, tell me about softcore pornography.
Explain to me porn, internet.
What is a porn?
Just
Just Google search that.
a piece
see
of
what
random
comes up.
music.
Yes. This is less
Did you
sexually graphic and intrusive than
PORN.
hardcore pornography. Defined by a lack of penetration and emphasis on the sensual appreciation of the female or male form.
Okay.
So if you had softcore porn, but a dude stabs another dude,
That
with
is
a-
not softcore porn. That's
it's now
penetration.
That's
hardcore.
penetration,
It's
yeah.
penetration.
100%, man.
Now, it seems like it's supposed to be both sexually arousing and aesthetically beautiful, which,
Soft filters.
That's
soap
subjective.
opera porn.
No,
Of course it's
there's
subjective
plenty
to
of
some
porn
people.
that is not aesthetically pleasurable,
Yes.
It's true.
but it'll still get you off.
Sometimes.
If you try hard enough.
If you ask penetrating questions, would that make this a hardcore podcast? Yes. Let's deep dive.
I already listened to a hardcore podcast.
How much pressure per square meter does it require to impale one Andy Mayfield?
This much.
10.
So that's your number.
4
Yes.
Like
penguins.
7.
Easily 7.
7 force.
Futons.
Just an AI to figure out how to throw him out of the level.
Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
that's all it takes to get me
Just
off.
clip
man.
Andy out of reality.
Someone referenced something the other day about making all measurements in some sort of asinine.
That was,
You want
I think that was last
sandwiches, is
podcast. Yeah, because we talked about going to the metric system.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I feel like it was like measuring stuff in kittens or cats. Like, how many cats tall are you? I think it might have been Sharon and Tasha.
I don't
Sounds
remember
like-
that.
Yes. How far away in cats are you?
The standard measurement for a cat.
Is that the range of
23 inches.
how far a cat prowls for food?
No, it's a cat from tail to nose.
Tail to nose,
Yeah.
27 inches.
Oh.
But what about bobtailed cats?
Well, that's the thing is it's gonna be
It's an
a
average.
give or take
Yeah.
measurement.
Okay.
Average cat length.
So those
Yeah, you're gonna
without
you're
tail.
gonna use kittens for like the meters type distance, and then you're going to use like lions for miles and shit.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I drove 17 lions to get here.
That's not very many.
No, it isn't. But I do work next door, so
Would you use the like metric prefix like kilo lions?
sure, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not for me to decide.
Yeah.
So, without tail, 18 inches. They have an average of 12-inch long tail, so 30 inches. It's 3 inches off.
Okay. It's a nice round number. So if you're going to do storage, like if a cat were to eat cat food and that cat food was the same weight as a standard thumb drive made in the year 2010, then my hard drive stores 10 gigalions worth of information, right?
Yeah,
That could
sure.
be a thing.
And so gigalions are when you have multiple units of cats.
It's when you have a gig would be 1,000,000 times the base prefix.
Okay.
So
1,000,000 cats equals 1
Lion.
gigalion. Or 1.
lion, kilolion, megalion, gigalion.
How do you get to lions? Lions.
Lion's just a lion.
How much
Yeah.
a lion
kittens.
Yeah,
eats?
lion.
It's kittens. Cats are made of kittens, and then
Okay.
lions are made of cats.
So you don't even you don't do like micro cats. You just do kittens.
It's like the idea that
Fetal
if you're
cat.
going to measure the length of your couch, you're probably going to do it in inches. But if you had to measure the distance from here to Washington, you wouldn't use inches, right? So you're
Right.
going to use kittens for all your microprocessors and your
Yeah.
And then cats are your everyday measurement, right, in feet. And then lions are like
How big's the room?
How big's the room? You know, how much does a blue whale weigh?
Right. So I would argue that saying gigalion isn't saying like a million lions, because you need a new prefix altogether. You don't use the metric system of giga and all that. So gigalion is actually like some sort of large cat celestial entity that has its own fixed measurement.
Could we
I
just
agree.
use the cultivars of cats? Like
That's what I was thinking,
tabby
like a
lion compared to like a
Oh.
calico lion.
I was thinking, like, just lean in to the way we describe groups of cats and call it like a pride of lions as a group of.
We're gonna get exponential. I have like 10 prides to the power of
Yeah.
Siamese.
There we go.
It's perfect.
Yeah, Siamese should be a multiplier of
So
whatever.
so breeds should be a multiplier.
I think you got to fit breeds in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe the breeds are just whether you're measuring temperature or heat or distance or whatnot.
True.
You don't have 10 Siamese pounds because
Right.
that's used to
That's
measure
ridiculous.
time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, so
but I could meet you 10 Siamese from now
Absolutely.
yeah, because it'd be like minutes.
in a location that's 30 lions from here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
This is happening. We're gonna make a page. There's got to be a cat Wiktionary somewhere.
Sure.
okay. That was
That was a walk down a dark, dirty alley.
Yeah.
With lots of cats.
I mean, I love constructed languages and alphabets. I don't know any constructed units of measurement. I'm sure there's a whole Wikipedia page on them.
Constructed units of feline.
In physics, you just start putting them together.
Yeah.
If you're divided, you just start crossing them out.
That's when
Yeah.
you start to get things like Ligers, and we just don't want to. This starts to get really messy real quick.
Yeah.
another current event, which I just confirmed was in fact current, unlike my other one. Oregon just passed new legislation, stuff that doesn't allow cops to ask unnecessary questions during traffic stops that don't
That
pertain.
seems really vague.
Yeah, of course it is.
It's just all the questions have to be pertaining to the actual traffic stop.
That's good.
Yeah, it is
It's
good.
really, really good.
It's not something that us as white men really have to deal with, but
No.
Yeah.
blacks and Hispanics, especially if
More just the
English-
people that don't know their rights.
That's
Yeah.
yeah. I saw a statistic that said like black men are like 117% more likely to be searched when they're stopped.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I think a lot of that is that they tell the cop that it's okay to search.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because they don't know their rights, and of course they're
Also,
probably
though,
reluctant to
you don't
express
have
those rights.
You don't really have a lot of room in that situation to express your
No.
rights, because if you do, there's so much wiggle room from the other side, from the side of authority, to just
Yeah.
You
make
always
shit
have
up.
the right to express your rights. They just have a stronger right to
stomp on them.
to
Yeah.
ignore
Yeah.
them. Yes.
That's a whole different ball game
Yeah.
when you're not white.
Yes, and I imagine a lot of time they're reluctant to even get confrontational with law enforcement because law enforcement has a tendency of fucking killing them.
Yeah. Majority of the
So-
time, it seems like black people have to be the calm one in those situations, which is the opposite of how it needs to be.
You know, the civil servant should always be the one.
Yeah.
that is calm. But I mean, there's so much nuance that shit.
There
I
is.
fucking hate cops. But,
Yeah.
That's it.
mostly because they don't have enough oversight. And anytime you start having a power structure with a lack of oversight, you get corruption. People that are abusing their power and taking advantage of their position. And it's just an age-old tale.
So
Pretty
this
sure
news.
that's what Aladdin was about.
Does this mean anytime I get pulled over now, they're not going to ask, "What am I doing? What are y'all doing tonight?"
I feel like that could
Yeah,
be
like
argued
they
that
would,
could be pertained to the traffic stop.
No,
Where are you
I
going?
feel like that's not appropriate for the traffic
Yeah, that's
stop.
not relevant.
I
If
would
they
agree.
pull you over for running a red light, does it matter where you were going?
I would
Even if
agree.
I was trying to get somewhere fast and I was speeding, it's not relevant. The fact is that I was speeding.
Yeah, it's weird, but it's like
I-
I'm a fan of stuff that protects our privacy
Yeah.
in face of the police force.
For sure.
So
Or just anything.
any corrupt. I mean, if there was some sort of power structure that was in place that I trusted, that was maybe incorruptible, which is a fucking daydream.
Yeah.
you
That's
might
what
be.
I get at.
Yeah,
If we're
you'd
not
be-
going to be passing legislation to help give more oversight to cops, and at least pass legislation to help people not be taken advantage of.
Yeah,
Sure.
stuff like body cams and
Mhm.
this legislation is good stuff.
Yeah.
And typically, the people that fight against that are people that like to abuse their power. Would be my,
Dude, I'm not a cop, and I would love to have a body cam on all day. Like when I'm at work. Just so when I'm asked, what, like you had some kind of issue with like a customer, describe that to me. And I could say, or I could just show you the video. Right. I could just show you how it went down, right? That would be super handy.
I think it'll eventually get at that point.
I've watched some fucked up videos to where those body cams really fucking rained on their parades. Like I saw one
Oh,
where
yeah, man. It's crazy what comes out.
like a police officer got pulled over by another police officer.
the drunk motherfucker.
Yeah, the drunk one in the
Yeah.
pickup, and you could tell that this whole thing would have never seen the light of day.
Unless- Yeah.
But they like two of them had body cams, and they're
Yeah.
like they're literally telling this guy like, I mean, our hands are tied. We can't help you out. Like,
Furthermore, you get the impression that had the body cams not been there, that dude would have gotten off.
he would have walked. They would have like
Yeah.
probably let him drive home. Like just followed him to make sure he got there, and that
Yeah.
would have been the end of the story. But instead, they're like calling supervisors, trying to talk off to the side, like, what do we do? And there's a lot of like hand wringing because they're like, our hands are tied. We can't do anything. I'm like, well, that cop should have known.
You should
better,
only be
and-
doing one thing there.
Yeah.
Everybody
Hands
should
will
know
not be
better.
tied.
So
I think about how much privacy we've lost over the last 20 years, and talking about if we're not going to legislate actual change, what can we do to protect people? I was sitting here mulling over. I do see if we could somehow give everyone body cams all the time, because we've already lost so much of our privacy, right? You might as well use that anti-privacy as a defense, right? I mean, that would completely change the game of witness testimony, lawyers, everything. If everyone had video evidence of every situation they were in, how do you get out of that, right?
Yeah.
I think I could see us going that direction.
I don't know. That's the part of being human. That's the fun part about being human, is getting out of shit.
Yeah.
getting
I don't
away
know.
with shit you shouldn't have.
Yeah.
I don't know about the fun part.
Yeah.
But it's a
It is certainly fun.
sometimes.
I think about the things we got away with when we were younger,
Mhm.
and the stories I've heard from the generation behind us, the things they got away with when they were younger that we couldn't have gotten away with.
Yeah.
Is that gap just gets smaller and smaller.
Sure.
So
It's one of the most intriguing things about the Silicon Valley series on HBO is that, all the goofiness aside, the technology that they were developing in their imaginary world was a decentralized, completely private internet
Yeah.
that nobody controlled and nobody was keeping, track of what you're doing on it, is a better future, I think, than the state in which we're going now, where governments can just shut you down and
Yep.
take control of social media networks and censorship and
yeah, I'm not too surprised it's going the way it's going. You think of how governments will have always in history, they take when they can, if they can get away with it. And the internet was just a new land. It happened to be digital, but you give it enough time and they're like, okay, now we're going to claim this, plant a flag in it, right? corporations are kind of the same because they can exist on level playing field with the government and say this is our internet here. And I'm not surprised that it didn't stay open and free like it was back in the golden age of the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, somebody's got to pay for shit to be built.
Yeah,
and
we
put
did.
stipulations on that.
We did.
Yeah.
We did that.
What do you mean by we?
Taxpayers.
Sure. I mean,
Yeah.
And then they took it.
Yeah, and then they privatized it.
they also, you could argue that the military is the one that gave it to us. So
True.
there's that.
We paid for it, like I said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we pay their bills with our taxes. But no, I always go back to my favorite quote from fucking the best 4X game, which was Alpha Centauri.
Yeah.
Which is
All citizens' final duty is to return to the recycling tanks.
organic super lube. It's great stuff. No, when you develop essentially the internet on the new planet, there's the quote that plays. It says, "Beware him who would deny you access to information, for in his mind he dreams himself your master."
Yeah, that's an old quote too. I'm pretty sure it comes from something else.
This comes from Alpha Centauri, as far as I'm concerned.
Predates Alpha Centauri? I doubt it.
Well,
The
I mean,
dame
What's
did come out
that?
to your
What's that
floor.
Office bit? You miss 100% of the starts you don't take.
it could be
It's
Sun
Michael
Tzu
Scott,
quote.
yeah.
Wayne
Yeah.
Gretzky.
Yeah.
Beware. I think it might be Sun Tzu. No, that doesn't. I don't know.
That was a joke because Alpha Centauri is old now.
It was Steve in the year 4.
That's made for the game. I cannot find a historical reference that is Proven Law
Awesome.
Yeah.
of the UN peacekeepers.
There's another really good quote I see every once in a while without context and people love, but it's fucking Mewtwo from the Pokemon movie.
I don't know the quote.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it. I see now that the circumstances of one's birth are irrelevant. It is what you do with the gift of life that determines who you are.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
I can
like it's probably on like a poster. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Starry field in the background. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Fucking best Bob Dylan song ever written. He not busy being born is busy dying.
I try to be born at least once a month.
Gross.
Keep that
Where do
shit
you
up.
keep all your amniotic fluids?
Outside of his body.
in the bathtub.
in the brood
and he
sack?
pumps it up for him.
That's right.
It's 2020, man. They got an app for that.
Well, on the anniversary of your rebirth, we just about done? We wrapped up?
Are we wrapped
Seriously?
up?
Want to talk anymore?
That second half seemed fast.
Yeah.
I do have a question, and I'm going to preface it a little bit.
Yeah.
I saw a headline, or probably a YouTube video, and I didn't watch it, but it said Death Stranding story was like ripped off from something altogether. Like I said, I didn't watch the video, but then I started thinking about like, could Death Stranding have been ripped off from something? And then I asked myself, what is the plot to The Postman with Kevin Costner?
It's not related.
It's not like them trying to rebuild a semblance of America through like a courier service between small communities.
They try to rebuild the like Pony Express postal mail.
Right, to hold together like remnants of the country, right?
Yeah,
have
but
to fight
Death
off,
Stranding is about time reign and
Well, obviously there's a lot
Yeah.
of stuff.
and World War II shadow whales. I mean,
I'm not saying it's a direct rip. I'm not the one
Yeah.
that made this video. I don't know if they even reference the Postman in it. I'm just curious, like, isn't the Postman have a lot of similarities with the plot from Death Stranding as far as like what I listed?
I don't know what middle to end game plot of Death Stranding is, but I mean, if we're going to back up to the broadness that they're trying to rebuild America after a fall,
Through courier services, through the mail.
Fuck! I just realized why Manager's going to be a drag to play. It's just a rip off of Sharknado.
God damn it.
you got to play Sharknado. I mean, I guess it just depends if the mail is
I never saw the
different
Postman.
than
Neither did
packages, but
Is it a good
they
movie?
have the same vein, but I wouldn't call it a ripoff. The Postman,
Yeah.
I don't think the movie. I mean, again, it wasn't as good as the book, but it's interesting.
The plot of The Postman. Years after major global conflict has left the United States in dystopian disarray, A nomadic traveler becomes known as the Postman, travels through towns in the Northwest delivering old mail. Thanks to his presence, people begin to believe in the U.S. government being restored.
Yeah. And they end up trying to have, like, there's a huge warlord.
He clashes with a dictatorial general, Bethlehem.
And what's crazy, spoilers for an old story, is that he ends up inciting, like, an unwilling hero. He ends up inciting this rebellion, and all these women, they were essentially slaves, in one night agree. They all slit the throats of their overlords, even though it's going to get them killed. So there's just like this horrible, sad ending where they manage to overthrow the warlords, but then all these women get, like, I think they get raped and killed at the end. But
brutal.
Yeah. Death Stranding is, I mean,
yeah, unpacking like
it's different.
Death Stranding. Sure, I guess it could have elements from a lot of things, right?
I'll watch the YouTube video and find out what they are claiming.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Death Stranding is a ripoff of.
Yeah,
I'm going to be very pleased if it does turn out to be a reference to Postman, just because, like,
I wouldn't be surprised if it's a reference for sure, because that's what Kojima does. He references movies a lot because that's what he's always wanted to do. He's settled for video games.
I just never thought. In all this time of Death Stranding being out, I never
carrying around packages.
I never made this connection.
I didn't think about
Postman
it
until someone was like plagiarism. I'm like, what could they possibly have ripped off?
Right?
Fuck Kevin Costner. Fucking bebopping around, dancing with wolves and shit.
Kevin Costner didn't have any of the World War II ghost whales.
No, but he had Tatanka.
Tatanka.
And a Field of Dreams.
That's true.
So he had ghosts, but they're all baseball players.
If you carry it, they will pay delivery and shipping and handling.
Likes, they'll pay you in likes.
Yes, they'll pay you in likes.
Yeah.
All right.
I think we're good.
Yep.
We're good.
All right, guys.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for what Nick said.
I love you.
No, he doesn't. I love you more.
Educate your mind. Don't let the brain cells die. Come on, it's balcony time.